Good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News. Good morning. Sorry, guys. Good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. So thank you guys so much for joining me here on this Recap Monday. So let's start with honoring God with our body. God, please guard our mind and our thoughts. God, help me to fix my thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. So I will think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. God, please protect my ears and help me listen to your voice. God, help me to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. God, please protect my eyes from sin's damage. God, I make a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully. God, please speak life over my mouth. God, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. God, please help my hands to serve generously. God, help me to do good to everyone, and especially to those who belong to our family in the faith. And God, please protect our reproductive organs. God, help me to honor you with purity. God, help me to honor you with my body. And God, please protect our feet as we walk along your path. God, let your word be a lamp for my feet and a light on my path. And if that's the first time you're joining us this morning here on Unfiltered Vision News, that is where I like to start out with honoring God with our bodies. Sometimes I might start out with a scripture. And actually, speaking of scriptures, last week, of course, I was having my quiet time and I was like, you know what? This is an interesting piece of scripture. I'm going to go back to it. Bear with me just a second. I'm not going to put it on the screen. I'm just going to go back to it. But it was Friday during my quiet time, during my time with God. And I was just like, wow, that's really intense. I would never look at it that way. But it's Proverbs 18:2. And it says, fools find no pleasure in understanding, but delight in airing their own opinions. And I was like, wow, that's kind of where we're at right now. There are a lot of people that really don't care if they understand. They just want to have an opinion. It's not about understanding. It's not about fixing anything. It's not about being helpful. They just want to make noise. And that's one of the things that we need to be very aware of, that there are people out there that just want to make noise. They don't really want to solve anything. They don't want to fix anything. They don't care like that. They just want to air their opinions. So I want us to keep that in mind. Now we're going to start with X and just looking at some of the highlights. So it says thousands march in Dearborn for an annual Ashura procession. So I did block out this one so you guys could see. So these individuals, as far as the eye can see, right, are Muslim and they practice the religion of Islam. And it says terrifying. Dearborn, Michigan just went maximum Islam, flooding the streets and making clear they're here to conquer, not assimilate. This is why Islam needs to be repealed. Islamist flags waving. They don't want to. They want to end the West. Now, going back to the synopsis, and I do apologize for the internet that I have. Okay, it didn't do it. Initially, it did it. Let me fix that. There we go. I like when it gives like the little breakdown so you guys can understand. So on Sunday, the Ashura Project, right, under the Taha Foundation organized the 12th annual. So this has been going on for 12 years, right? Procession in Dearborn, Michigan, starting at Fordson High School and ending at Ford Woods Park. And a lot of things are named by Ford because that's where the Ford factory started. And it just has a long-standing historical value in our country. Now, participants in Black mourning attire carried flags for Imam Hussein, grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, along with banners resembling those of Hezbollah, Iran, and Palestinian groups, and signs like "We do not bow to tyrants." Mayor Abdullah Hamad spoke to the crowd, linking the 680 Battle of Kabbalah to modern justice calls. The peaceful event drew no protest, but videos sparked online divides over its flags and chants amid debates on identity in the US's largest Arab American community. And I think the biggest problem that people have is that you're celebrating another country here in the United States. Now, if the United States was to go over to any of these other countries, it probably wouldn't go well for you. I'm just saying, because there are some people that do try to celebrate America and other places, and it doesn't go well for them. They shut that down because that's their country. How dare you celebrate another country here in our country? But we don't do that here. We just allow it. Now, I think it's one thing if you're actually celebrating a culture. Let's just see. And I'll bring this for example. So I know annually they have Chinese New Year, right? And some people participate, some people don't, but it's Chinese New Year. And so they will, and maybe predominantly Asian communities, they will celebrate Chinese New Year. Well, specifically to Chinese, right? So Japanese people might not be celebrating it, just saying, but they celebrate that. But that's an event. And what they do culturally, because that is a part of their culture, they share it with the United States to be like, hey, this is something that we actually do in China, right? And they're not doing it to take over the United States, to make the United States more Chinese. They're just saying, hey, this is a little bit of something that we do here in our country. It has nothing to do with religion. Everybody gets to participate because it's just celebrating New Year. That's not what this is. And that's where I need people to start to see the difference. Because this situation here, especially with Islam, is that a lot of these people, they attach their nationality, right, and their ethnic identity to Islam. Because in a lot of these countries, they live under a theocracy. So their government is run under Islam, period. And this is something that people rightfully should be concerned about, in my opinion. Okay. The other topic is the Supreme Court clears to end TPS for 350,000 Haitians and 6,000 Syrians. And then there are flash floods that killed 4 in Kentucky, and there was a state of emergency declared. So let's definitely keep individuals in Kentucky in our prayers. And I also wanted to bring up a meme, I guess somebody posted. Let me bring it up in my bookmarks. And I thought this one was interesting. So Socialism 101, straight from the instructor himself. Take take from the producers, right? Give to the takers, blame capitalism, promise the moon, and deliver nothing, right? And the students in dunce caps begging for free stuff while asking, what is work? So here's the meme right here: equality, dependence, obedience, right? So we don't need to necessarily watch it, but it says free stuff, please. I love government. Capitalism is evil. Socialism is love. Free college. What is work? On the books. More takes good. This is take from those who work, give to those who don't, blame capitalism, promise everything, deliver nothing. Now, a lot of times we need to remember, yes, we are in a constitutional republic, but we also have quasi-socialism with democratic tendencies because our elected leaders, it is democratic, right? Majority wins. Even though we have the electoral college at the federal level for the office of the presidency, all of the other elections are majority. That's democratic. Okay. Socialism comes in because, yes, our taxes are spread out to take care of those who may need it, right? We have public schools. Yes, they are paid for with taxes, but parents don't pay for the school directly. In other countries, they pay taxes and they still have to pay for their children's education. Education is not free. They do not have public schooling. So some children that can't afford it don't get educated, period. And their parents are responsible for educating them. So yeah, there's socialism for you. We have it here. The problem is now, I think the people that realize it's like, oh, we have socialism, we just need to continue to push it. Maybe not go so well for you. But I wanted to bring up a video that I came across with Benny Johnson, and he was talking to a current sitting member of the House of Representatives, and they get into an interesting conversation about the individuals that were just that won their primaries in New York City.
Good morning, and it looks like you're going to have a couple more Marxists to contend with. In fact, the Democrat Socialists of America just doubled their number in Congress. That's exciting for you.
It's pretty fascinating that this is the direction that New York is heading. Thankfully, it's not the direction our country is heading. But yeah, it's so a quick fun story. So I try to work out every morning in the members' gym. Well, it's Republican and Democrat, and there was a Democrat in there. It was just me and him, and we were talking about the congressional baseball game. And then he made some comment about socialists taking over his party, and so even rank and file Democrats that are elected members of Congress see how bad this is for them and for the country. That in their party, socialists, and he said it, not me, a Democrat, I won't name who it was, but a Democrat said that socialists are taking over their party. So it's great for us in general elections in districts that we can win. If they're nominating these crazy left, progressive, Marxist, socialist, communists, we're going to win the general elections. But in a district like this in New York, that's a D district. These people are going to be in Washington espousing Marxism and socialism and communism right here in Washington, D.C. So it's very scary that we're at this point in America where you have people saying things like, this is Brad Linder, who just won. I first called for abolishing ICE in 2018. Forgive all student loans, huge tax hikes on the wealthy. Claire Valdez said, fight to abolish ICE. These people are all anti-law enforcement. They want to defund the police. They want to defund ICE. They want complete government takeover on housing and everything else. And this is the kind of stuff you saw in the old Venezuela, stuff that's been going on in Cuba for decades. This doesn't happen in America, but it's happening in places like New York City because Democrats are electing these people.
So I have a pressing question about the oath of office. And it's an oath of office that you've taken now multiple times, and you promised to protect America. And one of the Democrats that won last night, Chavalier is her last name. I don't know exactly how to say it, but she's going to represent New York's 13th congressional district. And she posted from the group that she started, Death to America. The group that she started, which is the Columbia University Apartheid Divest organization called the CUAD, says that her goal is to fight for the total eradication of Western civilization and to use militant forces to do it. How can this person be sworn into Congress?
Well, if they refuse to swear an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States, which we are required to do as members of Congress, they should not be seated in the 200 and what will be 19th, I think, 119th Congress, the next Congress when we swear in. So when we have the elections in November, we don't swear in until January. Every member of Congress has to swear an oath to protect and uphold the Constitution of the United States. If she is refusing to do that, then she should not be seated. And if we have to pass rules, I think we should pass a rule. This program has given me the idea to file an amendment to the rules that if you refuse to swear an oath to the Constitution of the United States, you shall not be seated as a member of that Congress. So if you can't do that, you shouldn't be seated as a member of Congress, and we should change the rules of the House to reflect that. And every year, every Congress, every 2 years, we sign a new rules package. It has to be voted by the membership. It's obviously usually partisan, so whoever has the majority files a partisan package. We should change the rules to explicitly state that if you cannot swear an oath to the Constitution that's required by law, that you will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, which is a requirement of a member of Congress, you shall not be seated as a member of that Congress. So we need to.
Yeah. So that he's floating that. He's floating that. And that could very well happen. And so people need to be aware of that. I wanted to send out some good mornings. Good morning, Mardad. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. And Spud McKenzie, thank you so much for joining us. And Stretch Night, thank you for joining us this morning. But I just wanted to kind of wrap that up with a bow. Like socialism is definitely making a move here in the United States. So I wanted to go over some quick headlines with all sides. So Iran and U.S. exchange strikes after drone strike on oil tanker in Hormuz. Are we ever going to get this done? I mean, it's just nonsense over there right now. U.S., Israel, and Lebanon reach framework amid this disarming disarming Hezbollah. Maybe we'll get there. But Israel, I don't think they really want peace. They want takeover. They don't want peace. So in my opinion, they've just proven that, because every time when there's a peace agreement, they start bombing people and start messing with stuff. If it's not Lebanon, they're going to mess with people in Gaza. If it's not Gaza, they're going to mess with somebody somewhere else. It is constant. It's constant. They do not, in my opinion, at this juncture, they don't want peace because they haven't shown it. Now, people out there can get mad all they want to. I see what you're doing. And your actions do not say that you really want peace. It doesn't. But then you want to blame everybody. Like everybody's attacking us because you're attacking other people. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Stop it. Heat wave stokes partisan debate on air conditioning in Europe. Their stuff is controlled. New York primary show Mandani's expanding influence, and his influence is expanding, and people think they're going to get free stuff. But it's interesting because they never talk about the people and show the dissent in New York. People have been calling for his recall since May. He just got there. We're in the 6th month, not 6 years, 6 months, and people have been calling for his resignation. Okay. But somehow he is the darling of those who in the Democratic Party. And Democrats, I'm like, even James Cargill's like, I don't like it. He goes, we need a divorce. Now, when James Cargill starts talking about a divorce, it's pretty serious. It's pretty serious. SCOTUS rules in favor of Roundup weed killer. Outlets highlight Maha dissent. So I'll have to get into that maybe tomorrow on our Tell It All Tuesday. So what does the rise of socialist candidates mean for the Democratic Party? I was just talking about that. It's crazy. And then Post General confirms USPS will not send mail ballots to states not in compliance. I think we went over that last week. So that is our a little bit of our overall news on all sides. Now, I wanted to get into this next one. Now, this is about temporary status. I wanted to show a video with Debbie Wasserman Schultz and what she's talking about in regard to Haiti from the floor of the House of Representatives.
Complete collapse. Criminal gangs control much of the capital. Families face kidnappings, extortion, hunger, and violence. The United States is actively supporting a multinational peacekeeping mission there. It is impossible to argue that Haiti is dangerous enough to send in a security force, but safe enough to send back Haitian families who've built their lives here. Meanwhile, Venezuelans face a brutal dictatorship, repression, political imprisonment, and economic devastation. And don't be deluded into believing that all of those things aren't still true, despite what Donald Trump says. Many fled the Maduro regime because they believed in freedom and democracy. People who returned there from America have been tortured, interrogated, and robbed by the secret police. Sending Venezuelans back into the arms of the same brutal regime they once escaped, which is now financially backed and diplomatically recognized by the Trump administration, which is appalling, is deeply cruel. The Trump administration wants to pretend this is about public safety. It is not. 2 out of every 3 immigrants impacted by Trump's policies have legal status. This is collective punishment. It is a political decision to tear apart families, destabilize communities, and waste limited law enforcement resources on people who pose no threat. Every dollar spent detaining a law-abiding TPS holder is a dollar not spent going after someone who actually endangers our communities.
Okay, so that's Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So right now she's trying to fight for a seat in the 20th district that was created, and it's a little bit of a battle because there are those trying to play the race game. And it's interesting because I'm not even sure if they are American Negroes, right? They may be from other countries. They're melanated, but they're not Black. Okay, so let's just get that right. Let's just get that straight. Delineation is real, and we're getting to that in a second. But I wanted to look a little bit at Haiti because everybody really cries about Haiti, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't feel sorry for them, right? Because it's bad. But I just wanted to ask the question. Has Haiti gotten better or worse since the involvement of the Clinton Foundation, right? And I put her video in there. So Haiti has gotten significantly worse overall since the Clinton Foundation's major involvement post 2010 earthquake, despite some limited positive projects. Okay, so we all know they went over there and they were just like, we're going to help build up Haiti. It's worse than it was before they got there. Okay, so it killed roughly 220,000, it displaced 1.5 million and caused damage, losses, all these things, right? So this overlap with the U.S. government's efforts and billions in international aid. So it goes through, economy, poverty, security and governance, broader conditions. Now the Clinton Foundation's, its mixed results often criticized because were they supposed to be the superheroes going, we're just going to change Haiti altogether? No, they were at least supposed to be a little bit of a catalyst to help, right? Because Haiti needs to be responsible for Haiti. Now, this company that went in called Caracol, which is a Korean garment factory, they promised 65,000 jobs, but they delivered maybe 8,000 to 15,000. Displaced farmer land issues. So there was a lot going on. And why it's worse overall, Haiti's problems are deep rooted, right? So the history of instability, corruption, weak governance, geography, vulnerability, and to disasters, elite predation, and they predate the Clinton by centuries. So the Clintons couldn't fix this, right? And then I said, with such long-term failure, it seems that this is intentional, and that was my opinion. I was like, is there any proof to back this up? No, there's no credible evidence that supports the idea that the failure was intentional sabotage or a deliberate conspiracy by the Clinton Foundation or associated factors. So I just had to get that question out of the way. You can take your tinfoil hat off. No, nothing's intentional. But at the end of this, I really appreciate what it says. It says the reality is failures stem from incentives, short-term donor metrics, elite prediction, and weak state capacity and complexity, not a master plan. So fixing Haiti requires Haitian-led institutional reform, security, and realistic expectations. External actors, including philanthropies, have limited leverage without that. Haiti has to fix Haiti. We can't fix Haiti. And it's not our problem to fix Haiti. But the 350,000 people that are going back, do better. Take over the government. Why can't you? It's not our job to fix your government. Fix your government. You have an education now. You should know how to be nurses and doctors and farmers and all of the other things you've been doing over here. Do it over there and fix your country and stop complaining about the United States not helping Haiti. You help Haiti. Fix it. So, in my opinion, the 350,000 strong, you need to go back there with the resources that you've actually developed here in the United States and fix Haiti. That's the charge. Period. Fix your country. Stop complaining. Fix it. All right. Now, this last video we're going to get into, let me check my time. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, good. All right. Let's get into this one. Now, this one, it might make some people mad. I actually kind of appreciate it. But before I bring that up, I wanted to tap into something really quick. And this is something that we went over last week. And this is about the hair products. And I know there's a lot of things going on right now. They have a ban on particular businesses right now, especially within the Black American community. And Black Americans are like, we're not buying from you anymore. You don't respect us as a customer. And that's really what it's coming back to. It's not a hate thing, not at all. It's respect for your customer. You don't respect us as customers to the point where the products they're causing cancer and they're causing harm, and I've used some of these products over the years, right? Thank God I don't have cancer, right? Thank God I don't have other things, but fibroids, that's something that I had to deal with. Was that the hair products? Was that by nature? Like, I don't know, because I was using these products. And in my opinion, the FDA needs to put these products in the same category as drug products because they use chemicals. We don't know about these chemicals. We don't know about the lead, the formaldehyde, and everything else that's used in these products that we're putting on our bodies. This is real because it's just not us wearing braids. Everybody's wearing braids now. Everybody from all kinds of different cultures are wearing braids. So you're at risk too. It's not just us. Even though we predominantly wear it, not just us. And our FDA needs to do better. So I'm sending a PSA out to the FDA. You need to put all of these products that are chemically based, because they don't come from nature. They're not derived from nature. They're derived from chemicals. They need to be in the same classification as a drug product so that we can make an informed decision if we want to buy it or not. Because blindly just accepting all of this stuff in here, and this has been an issue. Like, this stuff kind of came out like, what, I think 2017 or so it came out. Yeah we need to do better when it comes to that. Now let's get to this last video.
It's not the reason your neighborhood is in shambles. White people is not the reason that you throw your flaming hot bag on the ground. White people is also not the reason for you having bulletproof glass or being fed through bulletproof glass in your neighborhood. White people are not the reason for you guys being baby mothers, for you having children out of wedlock. They're not the reason for that either. And they're definitely not the reason why you guys are killing each other. The truth is, a lot of these things that are happening within our community, we have control over. We can change them if we choose to identify and do something about these issues. But it is us that refuse to do anything about our own issues. And instead, we choose to blame other races of people. And that is why nothing is getting done. That is why we are constantly being shot down, not only by ourselves, but other races of people are starting to shoot us down because we are not doing nothing about the issues in our community. And they're spilling over into other communities where they are doing something about it. So the question is, should we be blaming white people or should we blame ourselves?
What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys pulling up today. We got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about it. We have a slew of brothers and sisters here that are fed up with the shenanigans. But for whatever reason, the Democrat Party wants to make the issues, in these communities, they want to make it, they want to try to legislate, people from having a poor mindset, and you can't. You either have it or you don't. And I think a lot of it, as G. Craig Lewis said, you have the Christian black and the witchcraft black that have, basically joined forces. And unfortunately, it has shown or proven itself to be a net negative for highly melanated people in America. I think we need to get rid of the term, quote unquote, the black community. I think we just need to get rid of that. And when I say that, I'm talking about all folks, black community, Asian, Hispanic community, so forth and so on, because what we do know is that just because people speak Spanish doesn't mean that they're the same. All highly melanated people are not the same. What people would say, would call white folks, they're not the same. They're different. And it's really about upbringing. It's about the community.
So is he talking about delineation? What? Yeah, we've been talking about that for a minute. That people need to stand on their square of who they are and be respectful, period. I think that's what he's saying.
You live in, and it's about what's been instilled in you from your parents. And I'm at a point now where you can't save everybody, and just because you and I look alike, we're not the same. We don't think the same. We don't live in the same places. We don't want the same. Again, you can't legislate a mindset, and your race or how much melanin or how little melanin you have, it doesn't make you my kind. It doesn't make us the same. We need to get to a point to where we're just Americans, and then let's break this down to thoughts, ideology, beliefs, so forth and so on, and we can come together as a collective based on that, not this other stuff. But I want to let these brothers and sisters cook because they got a lot to say, and they're absolutely right. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it.
Darren, before I get to Anton, who do you hold most culpable for the state of affairs involving Black America at this point in time?
I think it's a combination of a lot of different things, but it's a confluence of the lack of leadership on the federal level, starting with President Trump. And then I think the second part of it is that we've got to be more emboldened to hold the elected officials accountable.
A lot of the issues in these communities have been going on for a very long time. Not to mention all of these communities that this dude is discussing, they're all led by Democrats. And that's what people like this guy, Theron Johnson, who is a staunch Democrat, and he's played a pivotal role in a multitude of campaigns and administrations, to include the Barack Obama administration, to come out here and say that what's going on, in these communities is Trump's fault is so disingenuous. But that is all Democrats had. Brandon Johnson said the same thing. They just had, a super bloody weekend, during Juneteenth last weekend. And the first thing out of Brandon Johnson's mouth is it's Trump's fault. Like, what are we talking about, man? This is so ridiculous.
You can't just come in our communities and tell us things that we want to hear. We got to make sure that when we elect you, particularly Black women, who is the backbone of the Democratic Party, we got to make sure that we hold them accountable, and not just Democrats. We got to get into those rooms with Republicans too, and don't let them off the hook. So I think it's a confluence of a lack of leadership on the federal and state level, but also making sure we hold our Black leaders more accountable to make sure that they deliver on what they promised us.
We need to stop this. And this Black leader stuff, stop it. Those folks that get in these positions, they're there for themselves, to fatten their own coffers and to push whatever agenda that they've been told to push by whoever it is that has filled up their coffers and put the battery in their back. Stop this. The Congressional Black Caucus has been a net negative. And to be honest with you, I think they need to get rid of it. I think they need to get rid of all of these caucuses. Any of them that's based on race, get rid of all of them.
Anton, when I would ask you the same question, what do you believe the state of Black America to be at this particular moment in time? Who do you hold most culpable for it?
I'm not sure exactly what he means by fluid. And I'm assuming that he defined that based off of the different parameters by which he spoke about the Black community. However, I think I agree with him, except for I would describe it as in shambles. Worse off than we've ever been, freer than we've ever been. And the fact that we're willing to blame Trump, although we've had decades of opportunities, Black cities, you look at some of the blackest cities in the United States of America, Memphis, for example, was in shambles and they needed Trump's help. And I think that there's a lack of accountability and victimhood. And as long as we continue to promote that it's somebody else's fault, you know, I was looking at Juneteenth in Chicago, right? And you had over 7 people killed and 36 people shot. And while we were focusing on whether or not Asians and white people, whether it's Carmelo Anthony or Cyrus Carmack, is responsible and if they should go to jail or not, in every city across America, especially where predominantly Black people live, you don't have to kill each other, but there's drive-bys and there were over 113 shell casings where 12 people were shot on Juneteenth itself. And so when I look at the state of the Black community, it has nothing to do with the political landscape. It has everything to do with self-accountability, regardless of whether or not you're picking the right curriculum, if you want to go to college or you want to go to community college. Healthcare, I don't think that we're concerned about it. Self-care, I don't think that we're concerned about it. And more importantly, I think that we're more concerned about self-care with regard to promoting ourselves and the culture that's the worst for us versus taking accountability for the state that we have ourselves in. We don't have to have children out of wedlock. We don't have to put ourselves at a disadvantage, and we don't have to have children in poverty. And we have more technological advantages as far as research and understanding of the past than we've ever had before. But for some reason, we're still worse off when we continue to vote the same way while requesting nothing from politicians and letting women lead us to the polls. And that is the direct result. You're seeing it transpire inside of the Black community.
Man, Anton Daniels said a mouthful, but I can't disagree with anything that the brother said. He's absolutely right. Again, you can't legislate a mindset. Folks aren't forcing you to have multiple kids out of wedlock. Folks aren't telling you not to get married. Think about this, man. The least married, most children out of wedlock. If we could just change those things, if those things changed, communities would be better. You would see the median household income numbers go up. Because I know this is America. I'd like for us to live in a utopia where we're not concerned about race, but we live in America. And people like Ron Johnson and others, you know, in the Democrat Party wants to keep us stuck in looking at America through this racial lens when it's really not about that. But as my sister Crystal would say, it's really about the saved and unsaved. Those are the two races. Simple as that. I say it all the time. You either standing, you know, with the light or you standing in darkness. Simple as that. And once you decide to stand in the light and you start to live according to the word of God, and you start following his divine order, you can't help but be a success because the rules are tried and true. If you follow the instructions, you can't help but win. But you got people like Ron Johnson, one who will blame President Trump, who will also say, oh, we need more government to step in, to get involved to help this. No. These people need Jesus. Simple as that. Simple as that. Shout out to Anton Daniels. He was absolutely right here.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I'll leave the link so you guys can continue to watch the rest of the video from a righteous perspective. But, you know, some of the things I was just like, okay, talking about delineation, yeah. In the Black community, as definitely we need to be responsible for ourselves. But it all goes back to that proverb that I talked about at the beginning, right? Proverbs 18:2. Let me read it one more time. I was like, because it's very prevalent. It really, really is. I should have had it memorized in that way. I'd have to bring it up like this. But I just don't want to misquote it either. I don't want to paraphrase. I want to say it right. It says, fools find no pleasure in understanding, but delight in airing their own opinions. So does it come back to people being fools and airing their own opinions? Because they find no pleasure in understanding. Everything that they were saying, I couldn't disagree with. But nobody really wants to get an actual understanding of how we got here. Even though, to Anton's point, we have all the technology and all the research. Because nobody really wants to say the truth. And the truth is, it is a lack of personal responsibility, and it is a reliance on government and not God. Plain and simple, short and sweet. Nobody's taking accountability. But nobody's doing anything either. Everybody wants to do the same thing, expecting a different result, and that is insanity. Now, I started the Redemption Party. Yeah, I'm going to bring it up again. I started the USA Redemption Party. You can check us out at usaredemptionparty.com for this very reason. Because people need to stop. They need to start taking responsibility, actually doing the job of governance if they're going to do it, because we need less government. And we need more people, individuals being responsible for themselves and their communities. And when people are committing crimes, they need to have consequences, period. And we cannot be overrun. Our borders need to be closed. People need to follow the laws. All of these individuals, especially from Haiti and Syria, no, you need to go back home because you've overstayed. TPS is only for 6 to 18 months, not years. TPS started in 1990. That doesn't mean you're just allowed to be here like that. So we really need to do better. But thank you guys for joining me here on the Monday recap for Unfiltered Vision News. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Tell It All Tuesday. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.